What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Sunbelt Syndicate as we continue to take you from the first kick to the last pitch, as we like to say, but also continuing through our baseball preview. Man, first pitch is just around the corner. We have two studs with us from the South Alabama Jaguars, assistant coach and recruiting, easy for me to say, coordinator Mike Wood, and player extraordinaire, because he's listed as a everything on the roster, Mr. Nate Wood himself. How are we doing tonight, fellas?
Doing great.
Doing great. I appreciate you guys having us.
Great. And to be clear to all the people tuning in and viewing, last name Wood, no relation, correct?
No relation.
No relation. I was waiting for it to come up, and I'm glad we got that out of the way right now.
Yeah, I figured we'd knock that one out quick because that was my first thought, just like, let's just make sure here. But just happenstance, right?
Exactly.
That's right.
Nice. Marv, I want you to ask the question that you kind of looked at earlier when we were talking before we got going about Mike's introduction to the Sunbelt here.
Yeah, so Coach Wood, first year in the Sunbelt, and we were kind of making the joke earlier. Your opening series is a team that you're very familiar with.
Yeah, obviously, I'm excited to play USC Upstate. They won the Big South last year, did a tremendous job, and I know they'll be a great opponent, prepared, and like I said, I know we will too. But it'll be exciting to see some old familiar faces and be a great first weekend, great weekend of baseball.
And now, Coach, you said earlier that in the last 8 years you've been coaching baseball. Sunbelt Conference has kind of been one of the ones that you've kept up with, and now that you're in the conference, just talk about the quality of play that you're expecting to see. Obviously, we've been talking on every podcast. 21 draft picks out of the Sunbelt last year, 11 in the first 9 rounds, and then Nate kind of follow up since you've been in the Sunbelt for a couple of years. But what are you most excited about seeing, and what do you expect to see as far as quality of play?
For me, top to bottom, I mean, there's no weekends off, and if you're a competitor, that's what you're looking for. You want to play against the best. So super excited. Just like I said, there's no weekends off. You got draft picks all over the field, both sides, and like I said, when you're competing, that's kind of what you're looking for in a league, is to be able to play against the best and prove yourself.
Yeah, I mean, Woody said it best right there. Coach Wood said it best right there. I mean, being in the league the last 2 years, it's real. There's no weekends off. It is great competition, and we play outside of our conference. Midweeks and preseason, and it's like when you get to conference, it's a gauntlet. Like, there's no weekends off. It's been eye-opening for me being from the West Coast. I never really followed Sunbelt baseball like this, but like I really do think it's top 4 conference, power 4 conference in baseball, to be honest. And it's incredible. It's good competition. It's awesome.
You never really know these days what power what. I don't know what to call it anymore.
Exactly.
So I'll let everybody else determine what power it is. I can tell you, when you look up and down the projected draft boards for this upcoming year's draft, there's a lot of Sunbelt players on there. And at the end of the day, that's what we hope, is we're able to provide a place and the competition necessary to get to that level, which you can't do it at some leagues. And the Sunbelt has proven over the past few years, for sure, to provide that opportunity that, man, you perform here, you don't have you're not just somebody who might be 18th, 19th, 20th round pick or free agent sign. You perform here, you can go number 1 overall. You can be a first rounder. And that's the exciting thing. And it's like that from, like I said, the top of the league down. There's going to be a lot of draft picks. So like I said, call it whatever power you want. The Sunbelt is one of the best leagues in the country, no doubt.
Yeah, Dom, you got a little saying that you like to say around here. This ain't a mid-major conference in baseball by any stretch of the imagination. I want to follow Coach on that. The fact that the Sun Belt has historically put a ton of guys in the league, and like you said, you look top to bottom. There's top 10 round talent everywhere you go. How does that help you in recruiting? To be able to tell a kid like, hey, you come here and you show out, you're going to get a chance, and also just kind of from the competition aspect, like there's a lot of arms in this league that are probably going to hopefully make it to the show one day. What does that do for you when recruiting, when you're walking in and talking to a kid?
Obviously, from the draft perspective, it helps. I think one of the most exciting things for me that I've been able to talk to recruits about is the postseason. This isn't a league where you have to win the league to end up in a regional. There's at-large bids, and saying that, obviously, our goal is to win the Sun Belt regular season, win the conference championship, and get a bid, an automatic bid. But I think for me, from the recruiting aspect, is like, man, this is a league where you can, take your lumps during the regular season, during the conference season, and still be a really good team, a formidable opponent that's going to go in and expect to compete in a regional and potentially a super regional to go to Omaha. So, you're talking to the right player, the winning player, which is what we want here at South Alabama, is that winning baseball player. You're talking to the right guy if they're into all that, into being in a regional and trying to ultimately fight for a spot on college baseball's biggest stage.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like last year, I think most people would consider the Sun Belt overall before the tournament started to be having a down year, right? We only had 2 teams get to the postseason. They did so very successfully, and then obviously Coastal gets all the way to the national championship, but we're used to being 3, 4, on the outskirt of looking at 5. And again, with the La Tech edition coming, maybe we start seeing 5 and 6 kind of more regularly. That's kind of been our argument, is you can talk about football, you can talk about basketball. Those are different monsters, but when it comes to baseball, we feel like this conference is up there with the very best. One thing I haven't said that I want to remind people of, the Big Ten does exist as a baseball conference. Not every team in Big Ten has a baseball program that competes, but every team in the Sun Belt does have that. So I think like down south, down here, especially where you guys are at, that's like a hotbed of baseball talent that has found its way throughout a lot of the Sun Belt and an SEC. And we know what both of those programs and conferences have done historically. Nate, talk about, being around the facility. There is a rich tradition of baseball at South Alabama, and how hungry you guys are as players to get back to that aspect in the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, it's plastered all over the walls. It's plastered all over the all over the stadium, all over the facilities. Just the talent that's come through here in years past, and the incredible coaches that have been here, going back to Eddie Stanky and Coach Steve Kittrell. I mean, and it's awesome, and even Coach Kittrell will come by on game days, and he's still around. He still teaches a class on campus, and it's cool having that type of exposure to greatness every single day. And there's former players that come back, and former big leaguers. Brennan Donovan, who just got traded to the Mariners, he comes back every year. I mean, it's awesome to just be in a place where success is the standard. It's not like a goal, it's the standard. And I think that is the biggest takeaway that I've had coming down south to South Alabama is there's just a different mindset. 28 regional appearances, or 28 conference championships, 28 regional appearances, 17 conference championships. I mean, it's very rich history at South Alabama, and it's breathed down your throat every single day.
He can also, I don't know if you guys mentioned, you mentioned all the positions. He can start doing some of the recruiting as well.
Well, that's why Dom said, he's infield, outfield, catcher, associate coach, like whatever he's got to do, right?
Oh, man. Seth, you want to get a question in here, man?
Yeah, I was just, we're talking about South Alabama, of course. Nate, who just we talk about the dudes. Who are the dudes, that's going to carry this team this year, top to bottom? Who's coming out of the pen? Just give us a good view of what's going on this year.
Man, it is. I don't want to give like some political answer here, but it's really tough to pick from a very deep pile of dudes. I would say I'm looking forward to seeing what Mitchell Hurd does on the mound. He's been dominating, which is frustrating for us hitters, but it's a good thing to have him on our side. He's going to be very fun to watch in the sun, but I think he was second team all conference last year. And it's going to be fun to see him pitch on the weekends. Man, just hitters. We got a couple good guys out of the portal that really just rounded out our offense. We struggled to create offense last year. We put up good offensive numbers, but I think the runs just didn't come at the important times. And I think we've got guys who can lay down a sack bunt, who can execute a hit and run. We got some thump in our bat too, which is cool to see. Like seeing people hit balls very far as a hitter is very fun and exciting. So couldn't give you specific names of just every single. I'm not going to give you guys the starting lineup for game one, but it's awesome to come to practice every day and watch our players compete because it's good baseball.
Yeah, kind of going on the roster and doing some research on you guys before the podcast started, and it's something that we're seeing everywhere, right? Very upper class laden. We're seeing rosters getting older because of the portal. Can you kind of, Coach, talk about what the portal does for the emphasis is win now, right? And back in the day, it was get the kid out of high school, try to develop him, and I know no one ever gets away from that. You got to recruit high school kids, but just kind of talk about what the portal was able to do to get guys that have already experienced college life, a college nutrition and weightlifting program. They've played against dudes before, right? And kind of balancing the recruiting freshmen and bringing in portal guys, and how with so many new faces, you quickly create the culture and get some cohesiveness.
You just said that, the magic buzzword there with culture. The portal right now, we're living in the present, so we got to use it as a tool. Yeah. And we did to the staff prior to I got here in September, so the staff used it and picked up some really good pieces. But they also did a great job with some of the younger guys too. Some of the freshmen that are on the roster are guys that you could see playing for us this year and playing meaningful innings. So it really is a balance. It always is going to be. And if it's not, then we're still working towards the goal of trying to get the best players, the right players, the guys who fit our, model for kind of what South Alabama has built their tradition on. And I think the best thing I can describe it as is baseball players, just kind of that dirtbag baseball players. And we got one right here in Nate. He knows I love him and this isn't a knock, but he's not going to be the guy that's going to jump off jump on a radar at a showcase, maybe, with burning numbers and all these great metrics. But what he does have is something that, I think we all can agree, we've been around the game, that is kind of, we're losing a little bit. And that's those instincts, the baseball savvy. And you watch some of those South Alabama teams that were in the regional, I believe it was 21, and beating up on, some really good teams, SEC and ACC teams. Those aren't the most physical guys either that, I went back and watched that game on wheels, a million times now since I've been here. And, but they're savvy baseball players who just seem to get the big hit at the right time, like kind of Nate said. So that's what we're looking for. As a recruiting coordinator, I of course have a plan, in terms of kind of what we're looking to do, in terms of roster construction. But at the end of the day, man, like, I'm just being upfront and honest. We're going to try to find the best player, whether it comes from junior college, whether it comes from high school. or the transfer portal. I believe we're able to do that because we have such a strong culture set by Mark Calvi, our head coach, and he's just done an amazing job. And when I think widely respected across college baseball for that exact word, culture. He has an outstanding culture here.
Nate, can you kind of talk about that from a player's perspective, right? Like, so you transfer in new faces every year. How does the clubhouse come together, right? You got new guys. How do you, as someone that's been there for a little while, bring the freshman along and say, hey, this is what South Alabama baseball is about, or bring the guy that transferred in and say, hey, this is the expectation here?
Well, you just said it. It's new faces every year. So it's really a year by year basis in the current, or it's a year by year thing in this current, like, college baseball world. You got people moving in and moving out, and it is, I would say I probably wasn't prepared for that coming in, but I was the new guy coming in, so I didn't really have to take anybody under my wing. I was the guy getting taken under somebody else's wing. But now that I'm older, I just turned 23 like 5 days ago, so I'm old for college baseball. But it is awesome to get to like give back to the younger guys, especially the freshmen. I mean, like, I got redshirted at my junior college, not for medical reasons, just because I wasn't good enough to play. And so like that was a big humbling moment for me. So like seeing some of the freshmen going through their struggles, it's like, dog, I get what you're going through right now. And like I can take you under my wing, maybe not in front of everybody and everything, but like Coach Wood was saying, like that's something that was instilled in me just looking. I think that was instilled in previous players by Coach Calvi, who then takes people under their wing, who then takes other people under. It's compounding interest at that point. And Coach Calvi comes from, I mean, he won a national championship as a pitching coach at South Carolina, was national assistant coach of the year that year, and then comes over and takes us to 5 regionals in 10 years, or it's 10 years or something like that. And it's just sustained success kind of creates that respect in college baseball. And then you start to listen to the things that people with 33 years of coaching experience has to say. And then you can kind of take that and apply it to managing the locker room. I would say, like, I wouldn't call myself one of the leaders of the clubhouse, maybe de facto because I'm the old guy in there. That might help. But it's just about sustaining what you have and trying to get, not sustaining what you have, but trying to get the most out of what you have every single year. Like, goes back to what I said at the beginning. You're going to get new faces. Like, we have 19 new faces in the clubhouse this year. It's pretty important to get to know the guys off the field before you are probably trying to do a lot of things on the field and like build that trust. I don't know, things like that. I think the coaching staff does a really good job of like giving us the freedom to do that in the fall. Not like, obviously baseball is the main thing, but like encouraging us to hang out with each other outside of camp, outside of practice, and do stumps, go bowling, go to Topgolf, like do fun things together. And that's the biggest thing, that's in creating culture. If you don't like the guys you're around, it's really hard to like them strictly during the baseball time. You know what I mean?
No, that makes complete sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach, what kind of things are you maybe allowed to do? This is really an inquiry because I don't know the answer. Like, if you bring in a recruit, how much time can they spend with your current players to kind of get to know that vibe? And I would assume you're asking guys like Nate, other players, like, hey, what'd you think of him? Is he a cultural fit? Did you guys like him? So like, obviously you do some type of team building to some extent if they're there, but how much can happen?
Yeah, 100%. So, you have a visit. Always try to get the guys to come down and, the recruit to come down and hopefully see a game or practice. I think that's one of the biggest things too. Because I feel like we have a unique playing style and identity here at South Alabama. And that's, kind of that gritty, tough, get down and dirty. I guess we're on turf now, fully turf. So no no crazy pictures of the South Alabama uniforms all covered head to toe. I miss that a little bit, but turf is pretty nice too. But yeah, try to get them down to watch and see if they're fit. I think the best thing you can do is stick them with a guy like Nate though for a couple hours and he can see firsthand and ask kind of the questions that sometimes recruits might be a little shy to ask around the coaching staff. But Nate does a great job with that amongst a lot of other guys that we have here that we feel like we can give a kid a pretty unique experience here from the baseball side of things, and obviously just the life standpoint too. We definitely have our recruits spend some time with our players. Like I said, mainly so they can ask a ton of questions and get to know them. Hopefully their future teammates or some guys who have laid the foundation.
I like it. Nate, I have a specific question for you. So you posted was it a picture or a couple pictures on Instagram today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a comment very quickly, one of the only comments, and the way it was worded just had me be like, what does that mean? So I click into it. It ends up being what appears to be your girlfriend. So I was like, oh, it looks like she's an athlete. So this is a question we haven't asked anybody else yet. And I'm very interested to know the answer. Like, what kind of dynamic is it when, you, an athlete, dates another athlete? I mean, do you guys get to see each other hardly at all? I mean, what is that dynamic like in a relationship in college with the current athletic landscape of what's going on?
Yeah. So I've been with my girlfriend for about 2.5 years. Met her. She played volleyball here at South Alabama, and we started dating in September of 2023. And it was very interesting because I had never dated an athlete before, that they understand like the time commitment that it takes. Some 12-hour days of you going up on your own and hitting, like that is necessary in order for you to be like successful at your sport. So that was probably the most eye-opening thing about the relationship that I'm in. We both graduate. So I graduated with my undergraduate degree in December with my bachelor's degree, and she graduated at the same time. She's going off to PA school, actually at South Alabama, but she's going to be a PA. But our entire 2 years have been dating, like there's just that understanding of the time commitment it takes to be to try to master your craft. And it's also awesome having somebody that is in the that understands the politics of sports. If you are upset with your coaching staff for some reason, or you're upset with an umpire, or you're upset with how the game ended, it's like good to have somebody that also understands that, so that you can go and talk to. It's pretty cool. I'd be lying if I said I thought about that a lot until this question, but like that's something that I really appreciate from her over these last couple of years.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. That's why I was like, oh man, this is really interesting. I mean, I'm sure other guys have done it, but for whatever reason, the recency bias for me to see you post something up and just see some people commenting, and it just caught my eye, and I said, it seems like she's ribbing him a little bit here, like giving you a hard time. Or I can't remember exactly what she even said on there, but it piqued my interest, and I was like, this is either someone related to him or something. It just felt like that kind of dynamic. So awesome to see two athletes, like you said, that can kind of understand the dynamics of what goes on a daily basis, especially that mental space. So very good. I have a social work wife, and our paths don't necessarily always like understand what's going on in each other's world. So that's a little difficult, but for you guys, that seems to be a great thing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I say we dig into the season a little bit.
Yeah, pull that out of conference schedule. It's obviously every series matters, every game matters. So the question we've been asking is there a team or a series that pops off the page that you're interested in because of who it is, where you're going to play, the travel, the food in the area, or maybe there's some history there? Is there anything that kind of pops off the page where you're like, yeah, I've had that series circled and I can't wait to play that team?
I'll go. Man, the La Tech series, I think for me, and I don't know if this is boring or not, but they're going to join the league, and I mean, for me, I think it's a great taste, like a good kind of measuring stick, like to see we're about to face a team that's going to be in our league next year. We'll be directly competing against. I think that one definitely jumps out. New Orleans, I know we've had some battles with in the past, historically South Alabama. And, I think I'm looking at it right now, like in live time. This might be the first time that I have looked at the schedule. And, and man, there's a lot of good teams on there. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'd say for me, I really enjoy away trips just in general. Like the baseball is awesome. Like baseball is number one priority. I love playing good teams a lot. I like playing good teams a lot, and there's a lot of good teams on this list. But to talk about like outside of baseball stuff, I enjoy exploring a little bit of the places that we're going to. Like over the last 2 years, again, I'm from California, never really made it out to the Southeast at all. So everywhere that we went was new for me over these last couple of years. And we're going to some new places this year. I mean, I'm really excited for the Charleston trip. My mom loves Charleston. So I'm interested to see what's going on in Charleston. Obviously, we got to go sweep them. That'd be awesome. But I also want to see what the food's like there. I don't know. It's just I think Charleston's the one that I circle. Obviously, every time we play Alabama and Auburn, honestly, it's been pretty good battles the last 2 years. We beat Alabama 2 years ago, lost to them on a walk-off home run last year, lost by 1 run against Auburn 2 years ago. I mean, those teams are that's where you see some great competition, like some elite competition from the SEC, and I'm excited for those games for sure. And I'm excited for some get back games too, like UAB. We had a tough series last year against UAB, and I know we play them on like a midweek this year, but like it'd be nice to get some get back on there. Same thing with New Orleans, same thing with Alabama State. I mean, Alabama State always plays everybody hard. I'm excited. We got a good out of conference schedule this year.
Yeah, I want to ask a question here. I mean, obviously, we know that the Sun Belt, every series is a gauntlet, right? What we talked about top to bottom. How important is it to schedule hard out of conference series to prepare you before you get into conference? Because you look at those teams there. I mean, you guys didn't schedule cupcakes, right? You looks like you want to be battle tested before you go into conference.
That's exactly it. You want to be battle tested. I think, in today's day and age, like I said, I originally talked about, with the RPI and things of that nature, you can, rack up some wins, potentially do well in your league and have enough to get into a regional as at large. I think in terms of the long run, the best way to go about it is to play a schedule like this. There's going to be, just looking at it, like I said, Upstate won their league last year and was in a regional. Look at Auburn. They're obviously making it far. Like there's some teams who made playoff runs on there, and potentially going to win their league. That's what you want. You want to see where you stack up and challenge yourself. At the end of the day, I know as a competitor, and our guys as well, I want to play the best of the best. See how many good teams we can play to really challenge ourselves. I know it's cliche, but you can kind of see that's kind of what we did.
I think Marv kind of hit on what I was getting at. I've been asking the question a couple times, like when you look at your schedule, especially your non-conference, are you looking at, these are must wins for, are you thinking long term, or the consensus answer has always been it's a one game, it's a long grind. We're just taking one game at a time. Or talking about RPI, are you trying to, we must have this game to build the RPI, or we must have this conference, this weekend. And I forget which team we had this week, but he was like, forget non-conference. He was like, you just got to go compete in the league, and that's enough RPI right there. Just talk about the strength of this league. You have your top three that's been the powerhouse, if you will, the last couple of years, but top to bottom, just talk about the arms you're seeing every weekend.
Yeah, to your first point, you do want to compete in the league and do a great job in the Sunbelt. Obviously, winning the tournament and the conference tournament gets you an automatic bid, right? But I think every step that you take in this season, for however far we go, however long we go this year, hopefully into the postseason, is you really are just trying to get better each and every day, because if you're there at the end of May in the Sunbelt tournament and you go ahead and win that, you're feeling just about as good as anybody in the country if you win that Sunbelt tournament. You really are, because of the strength of the league. And like I said, you're just beating some good teams who are going to make it to the postseason. And you saw it last year. The team ends up, going to Omaha and playing for a national championship. So if you almost feel like out of all the teams in the Sun Belt, well, if you can do that, then shoot, at that point, you're 5 wins away from being in Omaha, and you're feeling pretty good because you beat a lot of really good teams to get there. In terms of the arms, like I said, it's exciting. I mean, you look at the Coastal Carolina arms that are up and down the draft boards, and they're obviously going to have a target on their back, having did what they did last year, playing for a national championship. Well, shoot, man, like I said, if you're a true competitor, which I know we have a bunch up and down that locker room here at South, you're looking forward to that challenge, and you better be ready for every other team in the league, because the guy they roll out on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are going to be pretty darn good as well.
Nate, question for you. We had your conference schedule pulled up there. Kind of similar question to out of conference. Is there a series that maybe a team that you haven't traveled to yet since you've been in the Sun Belt, or just a team that you've been to and you're like, man, that was phenomenal playing in that stadium. I can't wait to get back there. It was just a great experience. What are you looking forward to, home or away?
Yeah, there really aren't any, like, for what we were talking about, how top to bottom the Sun Belt is awesome talent-wise. There really also isn't really a whole lot of duds just for atmosphere of away games as well in the Sun Belt. 2 years ago we went to Louisiana, and the fact that we opened conference with them is pretty cool. That was we ended conference with them 2 years ago, and that was an electric atmosphere. I think they had a softball regional going on at the same time, and the stadium was still filled up, and both stadiums were filled up. So they love their college sports down in Lafayette. So that's one I'm looking forward to going back to. Texas State as well. I love San Marcos. That was a great atmosphere as well. They got some rowdy fans. Haven't been to Coastal, and I haven't been to Georgia Southern, and I've heard they are some of the better atmospheres in not only just in the Sun Belt, just in college baseball too. So I'm excited to go back there. Obviously, we play Troy at Troy this year. That'll be fun as well. Just good. We have a great away in conference schedule this year, and I'm just looking forward to it. We don't have any. There is no duds in the Sun Belt, but out of the Sun Belt, like we play some really good teams.
Yeah, you guys definitely you got some competition there. Same for you, Coach. Being new to the league, any place that you're excited to travel to, because once again, you've heard the atmosphere is great, or the food's great. Everybody always talks about that, and Nate will probably tell you about the Cajun Cooking Club down there in Lafayette. Anything you're looking forward to?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is Cajun Cooking Club, all this stuff in ULL. That sounds exciting to go to. Coastal, I think, will be fun. Just like I said, from their run last year. Yeah, man, I'm just excited to get underway in obviously to start the season, but in the league, it's going to be great growing up, and you're watching a lot of Sunbelt games, and any chance, even the last 8 years, I would want to turn on South Alabama games, and that really is the truth. And watch these guys, and I can't wait to host our first Sunbelt opponent at Stanky Field either. I know it'll be great.
Nice. I got a question here on something very recent, and it's very interesting to me because Mobile is the beginning of Mardi Gras, the founders of Mardi Gras. You guys have had some stuff with teams doing specialty jerseys in the past. Well, ULM has come out and said that they have a Mardi Gras jersey. They haven't done the full reveal, but they've given you a couple little clips. Is that gonna fuel the fire a little bit for South Al? Going up over here and taking on ULM if they're gonna wear these. I don't know if they're scheduled to wear them against you guys specifically or anything, but it seems like an interesting aspect to the league for me. That I think yesterday was the first I had seen of it.
Nate's the gear guy. No, go ahead, okay. Nate. You're the gear guy. Obviously, you got the cooler hat on and all the cool gear at practice, man. You take it away.
Well, we've got some golly, I don't even know what to call them. We've got some native Mobilians. I don't know. On our team that are homegrown, just Mobile guys that are very, very passionate about Mobile being the birthplace of Mardi Gras. I would say I'm not super privy to the tradition around it. Maybe I'm not the best spokesperson for it, but I guess I would assume if you asked one of our pitchers, Hayden Odell, or one of our pitching analysts, Cooper Ward, I would say they're probably pretty passionate about that. They'd give you a better answer than I would, but I would assume that they are probably not as happy that other teams are trying to claim Mardi Gras for their own, I guess.
Yeah. It to me, for ULM to do it, I mean, have fun with it, right? But you're kind of far. There's some other schools that seem to be closer, Tulane, New Orleans. Even the Cajuns are probably closer than ULM is to New Orleans or, Mobile. Either one. So it's just an interesting aspect. It does look like it's going to be cool. I will say that. And ULM is going to be trying to make some noise, right? They've got a new coach over there, and they're going to be trying to make a little bit more headway in this league. As we know, it's tough to do, but I just saw that released yesterday. I thought that was an interesting aspect since we were about to have you guys from Mobile on. And Mike, remind me, Mardi Gras has happened since you've been there, I would assume now, right?
Just recently. It just started up. So this is my first experience, and it's really not an experience at all. I haven't been out experiencing anything that has to do with Mardi Gras, living a boring life. So, but yeah, excited to watch the guys play in the new Mardi Gras uniforms, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if you said that, Dom, already, but we just posted today that we're going to be wearing our we have cut like the Mardi Gras uniforms for I think the Sunday of our first weekend.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, just posted that on Instagram. The official announcement was today.
Very nice. So I hope you guys wear them against each other, man. That would be some heat right there.
That'd be awesome.
Mike, you haven't had king cake yet? Have you had some king cake at least around the Mardi Gras time here?
I haven't. Nobody's offered me any king cake. So I'll blame them for not giving me my first good Mardi Gras experience. No king cake. I guess
Coach Wood doesn't want to know what he has to do in order to get that thrown at him. So
you got to earn the king cake, huh? It's not just
exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what's in the king cake?
I don't. I know they were selling them at Costco the other day. I went to Costco for my groceries, and they had a bunch of king cakes.
Nice.
not familiarized too much with Mardi Gras.
Okay. Well, and Nate, I know that you're not a native to the Mobile area, but I would assume by now you know about the little plastic baby located in a king cake and what has to happen if you find the plastic baby. Hopefully no one eats this thing, by the way.
Yeah. I would say a lot of the stuff for Mobile happens downtown, and it's all right around when the season for Mardi Gras. It's all right around when the season starts. So I don't go downtown a whole lot during the season. So I haven't participated in a whole lot of Mardi Gras festivities, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I believe the person that finds the plastic baby, this thing is tiny too. It ain't big, so you could accidentally eat this thing. So be careful, Coach. If you do indulge in some king cake, just eat slowly. But I believe the tradition is if you find it, you buy the next king cake for, the office, the dugout, whatever. That's my understanding. So
that's a great marketing tool by the people that make king cakes. You just keep it going on and on forever.
It is. It's genius. It's very smart. It's very smart. It's actually good cake too.
Before we get to the fun question at the end, and Nate, I probably asked you this last year because I asked every player and every coach that comes on. So obviously, all three of us have kids that play sports. I was telling you earlier, I coach a lot of youth baseball. My kids and a lot of the kids that I coach listen to this. So every kid growing up around 9, 10, 11, 12 years old that plays baseball, right? Like their goal is, I want to be a D1 baseball player. I want to get drafted. I want to make it to the show. So give me the best piece of advice that you would give to a young kid who's in love with the game of baseball and that's their goals and aspirations.
My biggest thing would be to instill in them that everybody's path is different, that there's not one cookie cutter way to get where you want to go. And it might take longer than what you think it will. And you might not be as encouraged as you once were, but that everybody's path is different. Like I said earlier, like I went to junior college out of high school at a Loney college up in the Bay Area of California, got redshirted my freshman year, played, hit 265, didn't think I was going to go anywhere. Then got some opportunities, South Alabama came calling, and, this is my third year here, going to graduate school here. There was never in a million years that I thought I'd be in the state of Alabama, probably up until the point where Coach Magnifico called me. And, everybody's path is different, and just be okay with that. I think that would be my biggest message.
Coach, what are you telling a kid?
Exactly that, and do your best. Do your best. Do the best that you possibly can each and every day. If you do have those dreams and goals, and you do have to have some humility and be able to self-assess. At the end of the day, did I give it my all that day? And if you are able to do that, then be willing to have the discipline and the consistency to wake up and do it all over again, and again and again and again. Right? We've all heard it, and it's the Tom Brady consistency thing. Yeah. You look at the Jeters and the Bradys and those guys who did it for so long, and they'll sit there and preach consistency. That's how they were able to do it. So that's part one, is really, truly, honestly, be honest with yourself and be able to look at yourself at the end of the day in the mirror and say, I did give it my all today. And then have the power and the discipline to wake up the next morning and do it all over again.
Solid advice.
Love that. Well, and what's great about that is it translates, right? Like that's literally every sport. Like you can take that and tell that to any athlete. So I love the fact that is what you guys have said there.
Yeah.
I do want to shout out Coach Magnifico, Coach Mags. I'll just shorten it so that I don't butcher it again. Because last year was the first year we tried to do these types of interviews and put these things together. And until we ran across him, we were getting stalemated at just about every corner. And so he did the outreach for us to vouch for us and have gotten this to the point where we do get more responses, and we are getting more people to agree to do these things, which is fun. I think it's really fun to find out more about South Alabama, get to hear from you guys, a new coach to the league here in Coach Mike Wood. So, I mean, it's a really fun thing for us to do. We definitely continue to reach out and try and make all 14 happen. We'll see if it happens. But I do want to also thank Coach Mags for what he did for us last year, and obviously everyone who's participated so far this year. Really appreciate your time. Okay, the last question we gave you warning about. Nate, you are a utility knife on the roster. You're a man of many skills, so I'm going to have you go first. We'll have Coach go second. The Winter Olympics are also right around the corner. Just before your season starts, they're going to go live here. I think literally tomorrow is the opening ceremonies. If you could or would want to participate in a sport or discipline within the Winter Olympics, which one would you pick and why?
So, yeah, jack of all trades, master of none. That's kind of how I live by right now. But I actually have a cousin-in-law, I guess, that was a professional and I believe went to the Olympics in the skeleton. And it's very impressive. Shout out. He's got a podcast, Bring the Juice podcast. He's out in San Francisco doing the Super Bowl media row right now. Shout out him. And I would say skeleton. That'd be cool. I think it'd be incredibly scary, but that's super cool. And I have so much respect for everybody who does skeleton, luge, even bobsled. I mean, like that, you're going so fast with not a whole lot of control. So I would say skeleton would be something that I would like to try.
Yeah, going ahead on an ice tunnel at 90 miles per hour. Yeah.
I wonder how did that come about? Who tried that first?
I'm going to say it was some well intoxicated Canadian was like, let's try this out real quick.
Probably. That sounds about right.
Yep. I'm thinking so. Yeah. I just wanted to mention that, Marv. For those that are just listening to the audio version of this, the skeleton, you do go head first. Luge is feet first. I would, I'm a risk taker. I like to have fun, and you do these amusement park type rides. I still think luge would be what I picked because I'd feel safer. But I don't know. Skeleton, you see what's coming faster, I guess. You're not having to look over your toes. So, Coach, what are you thinking here?
I'm going to go ice hockey. This was pretty easy for me. Ice hockey, the Miracle documentary just came out. I could watch the original Miracle movie over a million times. I could watch that once a week. It's great. So yeah, I'm going Team USA. I'm going hockey. No brainer. Yeah,
actually,
nice.
Our coach, our coach at the end of this practice today, we had a great practice today, and usually at the end of great practices, he's telling us all the things we did good, things we need to work on. Today he was like, "Hey, go watch the documentary, the 1980 U.S. hockey team documentary. It's incredible." So, and then he said, "Break it down. Let's get out of here."
That's awesome. That's the second recommendation that I've personally heard about within 2 days. So it must be pretty darn good. I got off the ice earlier myself tonight because my son is playing hockey, and I grew up playing some hockey. Coach, did you ever play hockey, or is this just what you would pick because of you liking the movie and the history of it?
I did not play hockey. I am from upstate New York, so not quite up as far as Lake Placid, but near and dear to my heart, upstate New York, and that obviously monumental sporting event for this country. And yeah, I'm kind of, like I said, boring, and I'm going to keep it simple, and let's go with ice hockey.
Yeah. Well, if you watch the Four Nations and you saw Canada and U.S. drop the gloves more than once off the opening face, I think you're not boring with the hockey. I think you got it right where everybody wants to watch. I don't think we'll see that in the Olympics, but I'd be okay with it because that is what hockey is and what it brings to the table. Also, bring it to the table, guys. Shout out your Twitter handle, Instagram, whatever you want to give out for people to follow you and coach. Obviously, like Marv said last night, specifically, some people that may want to reach out to you after hearing your interview here.
Yeah, it's at WOODROMANG153, I think. But South Alabama baseball, Twitter works too. Obviously, I'm always on Twitter. It's kind of just part of it nowadays in terms of recruiting. So you can reach me on there or email, shoot me a DM or email for my number. Number works too. But follow the Jags baseball on social media. They do a great job. And follow you guys. You guys are tremendous in what you do in terms of promoting one of the best freaking leagues in the country.
Yeah, I second that. My handle Instagram is NathanWood_29. My Twitter is NathanWood29. So pretty simple there.
Hey, Coach, I got a follow-up question because Coach Britt from App State made a joke last night talking about the amount of DMs a recruiting coordinator gets from high school kids that want to get recruited. He said, I feel like I need to give a master class on how to send a recruiting message. I don't need your T-ball bio. How terrible are some of the messages that you get from kids that are just reaching out and trying to see, film and get interested in it?
Yeah, there's certainly some interesting ones that can make you laugh. But shoot, man, I'm never gonna knock anybody for being unapologetically themselves, right? They reach out, they come up with their own, as long as it's genuine. Just reach out, introduce yourself, send over some videos. You don't need to give me a long history on myself or the program or anything like that. But just for them to have the guts to reach out and cold call or DM a college coach like that, I respect it and always try to respond. Obviously, this place has done a great job of recruiting in the years past with all the great players. So just looking forward to continuing that.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Love it. Any final thoughts, Marv, Seth?
Just appreciate you guys being here.
Appreciate y'all having us.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
Best of luck to you guys this season. Obviously, we'll be watching, and hopefully we can see more than two Sunbelt teams in a regional this year. I think we got shafted with Troy last year. I think they deserve to be in, but definitely ready to get back to having 4 or 5 teams in a regional and trying to make a run at Omaha.
That sounds good.
Hey, Marv, don't tell the South Alabama guys that Troy got hosed. They're kind of okay with it. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. Listen. We try to be unbiased, right? We're a Sunbelt podcast. The better the league does, the better it is for everybody. And
True.
They got hosed last year. Personal opinion.
No, I appreciate you guys. Like I said, appreciate all that you guys do, and thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you
Appreciate
very
y'all.
much.